Is this thing on?
Hi.
Hi.
Apparently, our title is inappropriate for Twitch. Just got a notification that it wasn't happy about it. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I fixed it. Okay. Well, I fixed it. Go live. I've never seen that happen before. All right, we're live on Twitch and it's happening. I'm gonna try and go. Oh, look, Instagram's work. Everything's working this week except for our cast. I know. Welcome to You Sing Our Live for another week. Vera and I here. We live to give. You know, we're here. We're ready for your chat. We're just all about
the
that.
all
You
singing
know?
show.
Well, look, we have threatened it in the past, haven't we?
We have threatened it a dozen and a half times.
Maybe one day. But one day when we decide it's just the end of the road, we'll just be like, it's happening. It's happening, kids. You've got to deal with it.
People sing.
Hey, Joe. Very funny. Did you see the footage of the president and Melania?
Yes, I most certainly did.
At Les Mis.
I cheered.
I saw a TikTok and it's like, no shit, the president's at the same musical that I am. And she was like over the balcony over. She goes, I don't think he's getting the same message that I get from this show.
Did you see the drag
queens? What a great idea. It's great. I love it.
Did you see the drag queens?
No. What drag queen?
There was at least 6 men and women in drag who attended the show for the president's birthday weekend in full drag with big wigs. They got a standing ovation. Donald Trump got booed.
Oh.
Then like a half dozen people cheered. Yeah.
I don't think he's sure what Les Mis is about either.
There
and
were
hello,
some
Dogsy.
performers who refused. Hey, dogs! Refused to perform with him in the audience. Several members of the cast refused to perform.
Right.
What else happened? He got booed. A woman screamed up and stood up and screamed, "Felon, felon, felon." She was escorted out. You know.
Nice.
So it was a bang up start to the birthday weekend.
Oh well. They can't all be winners, can they?
And it looks like rain and thunderstorms for his parade.
For his big, beautiful parade. He's not having a very good week, is he?
Happy fucking birthday to you.
So, if you guys hear some random noise, I am dog sitting. I'm just... There may be some squeaking and barking and stuff like that is available.
Will we see any little doggy faces?
They're not. He's not little, so he's around. I'm not going to call him because he's a puppy. So he's one of them giant poodle looking things, and he stood next to the wall chart because my friends have children, obviously, that I'm house sitting for, and he is nearly 2.5 feet tall on all 4 legs.
Wow.
So when he jumps up, his feet are on my chest. I'm like, oh, hey there. You are a tall boy. He's a very, very tall man. Yeah. I am not 100% sure about his quietness. He's not the quietest boy in the world, but
he's shredding the sofa.
He's smelling my leg now, so I think he knows we're talking about him. So we're definitely not talking about him at all.
Okay.
But that's okay. The other one's fine. We've got a tiny little dog and a big giant dog, and he's now looking at the kitchen counter.
Because he sees you're occupied and there's a steak on there?
Yeah. Bernie! Excuse me 1 second. I didn't want to clap into the microphone. My loud dance teachers clap into the microphone would probably deafen everyone.
Did he cut down?
Yeah, he got down. He's a good boy when he's just a baby. You know what puppies are like. He just happens to be a giant baby that's out of control.
This sounds like
Out
Trump.
of control. Yeah, look, a little bit. But it's been okay. They're home today, so we've been for a few he's dragged me around the block a few times. That's been all right. It's been so cold here. Look, Vera's just turned off the air conditioner. I'm in my beanie for the first time. First beanie of the season. So it's
yes,
nice.
I had to put the air conditioner in the window last weekend and it was on today, but I turned it off because it's very loud.
I did see Jeff sent me a Snapchat this morning and I was like, oh, I see green. Just sitting on the porch. I was like, I see green. Not snow for once. That's exciting.
Yeah.
For us.
It took forever for it to stop being cold here. It happens. Mid-June. Like all of the crops are late. Nothing's coming in on time.
Yeah, but as if global warming's real. Come on.
No, right?
I mean, come on. Who knows? But what have you been up? Anything exciting, Vera?
Well, I did get 2 fillings.
Oh, joy.
Yay. So I might have a little palsy kind of grin. I got home from the dentist and I couldn't sip water. It was just rolling down my chin. But what else?
Oh, no.
Work is work. I can't wait to retire.
Yeah, well, maybe you're going to have to wait.
She is in Manhattan this weekend. She's got I did see
your sister being all fabulous.
She's got tickets for Smash.
Ah, don't. I'm going to cry. The one thing I was like looking forward to this year was like, I'm gonna come see. I've told everyone. I told everyone it's happening. I'm going to see it. It's happening.
Of course, we'll see if she gets there because she's going to a protest in the afternoon.
Yeah, well, at least she's not in LA, but we'll talk about LA in a second. I mean, drama at the Tonys too, right? People are just not happy that Nicole Scherzinger won. There
is a contingent that was pissed about it.
That's all I've seen on TikTok. It's like, how dare she? And then they're just showing Audra McDonald's,
Audra McDonald ate that fucking stage.
But you know what? Maybe that's what she needs. Like, it sounds like she's not won a Tony before either. Let's be real.
No, it's her third.
Let's not be.
It would have been her fourth had she won that one. The problem is not the performance. The problem is the political statement she made.
Yeah, look, and whether you believe it or not, he has done a lot for the community, the LGBT community, the arts community. I don't think you can paint. It's not like she's outwardly MAGA, like to the core, like will not. She's like that. She made a comment on a red hat, and people are like, "Oh well, that's the end of your career." Well, obviously, it wasn't.
She was asked to. I'm turning this down because I look a little hot. Sorry.
I look a little hot.
Right. She was asked to rescind the comment, and she didn't. It was a very non-committal.
I don't know, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more. I don't know why it matters so much to people, especially if you're not a fan of that person, what they say and do politically, personally. Like,
well,
celebrities are just people at the end of the day. It's not like they're telling you to do.
In New York specifically, right? And I was not unhappy with Nicole's win. I saw her performance. It was beautiful. It was moving. I cried. You saw me cry.
Yes, you did.
I was not unhappy with her winning. But given the amount of vile hatred that Trump has channeled towards New York, towards gay people, towards the arts, He has defunded practically every single arts project in this country. He has defunded the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts. He's taken over the Kennedy Center, fired the entire board of directors, at an independent nonprofit. It's not easy to not have this kind of vile reaction to that policy.
And look, I get that, but you can't tell me that she's the only person working on Broadway that may have expressed the wrong political view at some point. It just seems like
I do feel like she's the only one who's made it public.
Yeah, exactly, public. But if you go behind some closed doors, I'm sure that not everyone, because some of those people are not poor.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. New York is like 78% Democrat.
Okay, well, I could be wrong. That's fine.
I mean,
contrary to popular belief, I'm happy to admit if I'm wrong.
I am not.
I feel like it's a bit of a witch hunt that kind of didn't turn out in anyone's favor because she's still sold out those shows. She's made that show successful.
And yes,
because of her talent.
Of TikTokers who are pissed about it. But the voting membership of
I think the talent is undeniable,
for her
though.
To win.
Yeah.
In a pretty competitive year.
Yeah, very much, very much so. But
she is not suffering. Yes, there are.
Yeah, exactly.
8 to 10 people bitching a lot, but I can understand.
I totally understand it. I just feel like it's maybe a little bit out of proportion.
She won. She got a
She won.
Ovation.
Yeah, at the end of the day, she won. No matter what anyone thinks,
she didn't really get hurt. And those 8 people bitching about it now aren't going to get the Tony taken away from her.
Yeah, and look, I don't. If when it comes down to the the rules of the game, did she give an exceptional performance? Yes.
Yeah.
No
I was there. You saw me cry.
Yeah, I was there. I would. And as I said to you, I think that is one of the most singular experiences in theatre I've ever had. Watching that show, it was just like another level. So
yeah, it was. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant performance. Not taking that away from her. No. And neither is anybody on the Tony voting board. Neither was the audience there in New York. Neither were the people that saw her on the show. It was sold out right up.
I do think it was a little bit of sour grapes too, though, when there's TikToks comparing their performances and people making fun of Nicole's mannerisms when she performs. I've seen that on TikTok. I'm like,
you got a much gayer TikTok feed than I do.
to be fair, there's some screaming there from Audra McDonald, who should know better.
I can't believe she sings like that every night.
I don't think she does.
I
feel like that's a let's throw it all on the line kind of moment.
Yeah, that was
she had that's all that, and congratulations, because that's all that everyone's talking about from the attorneys. Yeah, so she did her job too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to lose to go.
She was just incredible.
Undeniably
she's had
incredible.
A pretty fucking rough week,
I know.
Patty was supposed to be her friend, dissed her.
Yeah, well, Patty didn't even show a face, so.
Patty can't right now. Talk about being persona non grata in New York.
Yeah. Patty's hoping for some more Disney shows at the moment, but that's okay. Should we actually get into the show? Because we're just talking Broadway now. All right, we're going to talk this week's
hot load of hot topics.
Okay, the hottest topic of the week is, of course, what's going on in downtown LA. Now, ever-evolving story, as we know. But the thing that kind of kicked off on our page was Kamala Harris's official release statement on the whole thing. Now, I will read you just a little bit of it. Oh, it's not that long. We can probably read the whole thing. Look at me censoring myself. Los Angeles is my home, and like so many Americans, I'm appalled at what we are witnessing on the streets of our city. Deploying the National Guard is a dangerous escalation meant to provoke chaos. In addition to the recent ICE raids in Southern California and across the nation, it is part of the Trump administration's cruel, calculated agenda to spread panic and division. This administration's actions are not about public safety, they're about stoking fear of a community, demanding dignity and due process. Protest is a powerful tool, essential in the fight for justice. And as the LAPD, mayor, and governor have noticed, demonstrations in defense of our immigrant neighbors have been overwhelmingly peaceful. I continue to support the millions of Americans who are standing up to protect our most fundamental rights and freedoms. Enough said. Like, I'm sorry. Enough said.
Well said. Yes.
I have to talk about our comment sections because it definitely dictates, or not dictates, it definitely illustrates the mass of misinformation that is being spread about what is actually happening.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Luke!
She's arriving. She's touching down any second now.
I'm here.
Oh, look, she's in a leather jacket. She's fancy.
Oh, mate, I just left my wallet at the Brisbane domestic airport.
Oh, no.
Bubs.
Oh, my dear.
And it was karma because I was reading the comment section and some awful people were saying some awful things. And I'm there laughing at it. And then now I'm walletless.
Bit of
Karma's a
Schadenfreude.
bitch.
Our comment section, or
No, it was comment section on like.
I will
Oh.
too.
Shirley A. Burton. I will be joining the protest on Saturday. There we go.
too.
Good work.
Oh yes, be careful, everyone attending those events. They look like.
Well, look. So we've literally just started. We've literally just started the show. So good work. We were talking about the Tonys before you got here.
Yes.
We were just talking about the
misinformation.
Disproportionate, the dissonance between the news and what's actually happening in Los Angeles. Because I looked at what was said and what the news was reporting, and I was like, I feel like I would know more about this because, you know, I'm a doom scroller. I'm on social media. There are so many people walking the streets of downtown LA just with their phones, and there is nothing happening.
Nothing. Jimmy Kimmel.
On Reddit, though, you'll see a lot of stuff. Like there was one young lady trying to get to her apartment building. She wasn't being threatening at all to the police that were there, and they shot her in the chest. Yeah, with a rubber bullet. It was terrible.
Yeah, but that all right, let's wind back a little bit. What we're saying is the protests are not violent.
Right.
The violence.
The protest is go ahead, Steve, you finish because I get started no,
it's all good. The violence is being perpetrated by the people coming in to quell the violence that isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
But you always have to, when these large gatherings and protesters now, you will have the hijackers
always going to be
as well.
Yeah. There's always going to be people
that come
that
in and cause anarchy and then they make everyone look bad, and it takes away from what the protesters are there to protest about, because then it just becomes an excuse for it to escalate.
I look at it this. Oh, sorry. I look at it this way: like any storm, the scum rises to the surface. That's just what happens. You know. Sorry, I live in a coastal town. It's like
I have a cousin. I actually have several cousins, but one cousin who actually lives in LA, in Southern California. I have a very good friend who is a playwright. I have another friend I went to college who works in film editing. I have lots of people in Southern California. The area in which this demonstration is taking place is the teeniest, tiniest little 2-block area of a 430 square mile city. Okay? It's 2 blocks and 400. But the LA Times and the Associated Press and several other independent journalists have all been reporting that all of the violence was instigated by ICE or the police, that the demonstrators themselves have been, by and large, peaceful, that there are tons of videos from the demonstration of people passing out water, of people just marching, of people singing and dancing. There was a band there when the speakers were playing. You can find all the videos of the peaceful protest, even here 3 days later. Now, the media in our country is quick to point out that 400 people have been arrested. But if you listen to the California media, they're telling you that of those 400 people arrested, the majority of them are for violating curfew. There is.
Did you see, Vera, as well? They shot an Australian journalist from Channel 9 here.
The Australian journalist.
Deliberately shoot her, and yeah, it's.
But let's watch the whole. This is the thing. Yes, we saw that clip, but did we watch the whole thing? Because in the background, before she approaches them, you can hear them say, and I'm definitely not on the ICE agent side here, move back about 4 times. Mm-hmm. And she then approaches them and he aims at her and shoots her with a rubber bullet in the leg.
Well, that's not in the clip, but there's definitely
it's in the clip I saw though.
There's definitely a clip of a police on horses who are walking the demonstrators out of the area. They're all walking. All of the demonstrators are leaving the area, and the police line is behind them. And this one cop picks up his baton and just starts hitting a kid walking away from him. And the kid turns around and says, "Stop," throws his hands up, and another police officer on a horse starts hitting him from the other side. I mean, they're not peacekeeping. They're inciting. Just their presence is inciting violence. And as Dogsy said,
100%. It's very much like the Hunger Games.
They've just found
Vera's pause. No, I did see a TikTok saying, "Isn't it funny in the Hunger Games when the districts rebelled, they sent in the peacekeepers to calm everything down?" It's like, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign. But we were talking about the comment section, and we know that you and I don't always agree on some political things. That's fine. My astonishment is that people are saying that this is some kind of massive event, and that the president had to step in, and that it's people being violent for violence sake. And then when you say, so like the insurrection, and they don't like the term insurrection, so we say January 6th because, whatever. They refuse to believe that was a anything compared to people died, people were killed and permanently injured and all that kind of stuff.
Unfortunately, you've got somebody right now. So those people were actually charged, but then they've been pardoned because if you're on someone's team, then you're fine now. But if you're against a certain person, he's not going to tolerate it.
Censored early, I guess.
I know, you get censored early. It's just, but people will not. I'm talking about I'm not going to put them on blast on the show because it hasn't pissed me off that much, but no matter what you say, they will not acknowledge that what happened on January 6th was a criminal act. They were charged, they were sentenced.
They were found guilty in a court of law.
They were found guilty. It was criminal. It broke the law. This isn't breaking the law. The people breaking the law are ICE.
Mm-hmm.
Not the protesters.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
What I said in the comments was, if you're in LA, this is the strongest weapon you have.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, make sure you should. And there are people walking the streets of downtown LA, not in the hills, not in the gentrified areas in downtown LA where you cannot even hear things.
Right.
Like there was a guy walking near the 101 and you couldn't even hear the freeway.
Right.
So the cars on fire, mass looting message that is out there is not accurate.
Well, I have heard no reports of looting until tonight. There was 2 dumpsters that were set on fire, okay? And there was police cars that were vandalized and the 3 self-driving cars that were vandalized. There is footage that seems to have disappeared that shows police officers breaking their own cars. But, shit can be manufactured. I can't verify that. But there was footage out on the internet that suggested that the police were vandalizing their own cars. So
I saw a very good TikTok about the police are so stressed out and they're all on their phones. The LAPD just stand around on their phones, and then these guys are so stressed they had to stop and have a break. They're just eating burgers on the back of the car,
Right.
the patrol cars. I'm like, they're not quelling mass rebellion here.
No,
like
and
if people
there
are
was
stopping
only
for Taco Tuesday, it's like
300 of them deployed. There is I don't know if anybody saw the video of Wyatt Russell, son of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
It was him?
It was definitely him.
Okay, cool.
And put me in, coach. I'm fired up now. Me too.
Dogsy, I can't access Instagram at the moment, so I'll definitely put you in next week. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not that technologically skilled. I'm trying to juggle all these balls.
Yes.
But feel free to put your comments in there, and we'll definitely put them up, dogs. Sorry, Vera. It was definitely Wyatt.
Wyatt Russell was standing there, and he was very peaceful, and he was addressing the 15 National Guardsmen who were guarding a building. They were not keeping the peace. They were not quelling a riot. They were guarding a fucking building with their guns at the ready. And he stood there and he addressed the National Guards people. When your kids asked you what you did in this moment, what are you going to tell them? You're looking at us here, this community, my community, our community, and you can tell that it's not a riot. What you're doing in this moment, what are you going to do? And I just thought it was a beautiful speech. It made me cry.
Yeah. And this is the thing. The way that you win at this is to not give people what they want. They want violence.
Oh, yeah. They do want
destruction.
violence.
They want rioting. So they've got justification. Go, all right. I love that Donald Trump has the gall to even threaten an insurrection act.
It was thrown out of court. The last time.
Maybe it was because of you that there is one. It's like, drop it.
So, Stephen, you're not heading to the United States anytime soon.
No, I'm not. And you know what? That's fine.
You know what? I can't leave the United States anytime soon because Homeland Security is stopping people at checkpoints when you get off the airport. When you have to go through Homeland Security, the TSA, Homeland Security can confiscate your phone, and if you have anti-Trump rhetoric, you will be detained. I can't leave the fucking country.
Which is crazy. Like, that's
oh my God, it's so,
yeah, so much for freedom.
Exactly.
The freedom of speech that he values so much that he had to create his own platform for doesn't work both ways. It only works one.
No,
that's not a democracy. That's a dictatorship.
This is the Republican hypocrisy. Freedom of speech for them, but not for anybody who opposes them.
Right.
Freedom to assemble for them, but not anybody who opposes them. Freedom to create an insurrection for them, but not for anybody else. It's beyond crazy. The hypocrisy is wild.
Mm-hmm. That's Doxy says, yeah, that's the real thing. But the thing is that they have always had this power. It's just now being brought to light. But they're showing their hand.
I think the hardest thing for me and most of America to comprehend is the standards of governance and decorum that we assumed were codified in our American Constitution were really just a gentleman's agreement that all parties agreed to abide by these rules. And it's not written down anywhere. And Donald Trump and his minions storm in and say, not written down? Fuck it, I ain't doing it.
Yeah. Well, activism is never, a guaranteed safe thing either. As little Greta has found out. Greta! We have taken Greta from the seas. Now, Luke, you actually put this article up. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on with little Greta?
Okay, so Greta and some other activists, including
Greta
a Game of Thrones actor. So climate activist Greta Thunberg. They manned a ship to bring aid into Gaza, and it was a stunt because they knew they were going to be stopped. It was more to bring light to the blockade and bring more attention, to the issue. And they were detained by Israeli forces, and then they tried to make them watch the October 7th massacre documentary that has only been shown to select people, and it's all the body cam footage from the terrorists on that day. But they refused. So, and then they were Greta. Last I've seen, Greta was on an airplane back to Sweden.
So, Mike, I have a question for you. So, this is a separate conversation. Well, not really, because if you knowingly go into a war zone, and I get her intentions are good. Her intentions are great. It's brought a lot of, a lot more eyes on things, younger people's eyes. Is it your country's? Country's obligation to save you?
Probably not.
I think Greta went in, and those people on that ship went in probably knowing there was a high risk of them being shot at or killed. I'm sure that didn't
I would
escape
be
them.
more worried about being killed.
She said that. She released several social media posts about, if you're seeing this, then we didn't make it. Israel stopped our boat. If you're seeing this, I probably have been detained. She made a lot of videos that stated that before they went into the Israeli water or the Gaza waters or whoever owns that strip of land at the moment.
So let's
breaking news though. Did we know that Israel has bombed Iran?
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah, residents of Tehran and the Iranian capital reported hearing huge explosions, and Iranian state television broadcast images of smoke and fire billowing from buildings. Israel officials said the strikes raised fears of the long-simmering conflict between the two countries could escalate into a war involving most powerful militaries in the Middle East. Residents of Tehran, the Iranian capital, reported hearing huge explosions. Iran state television and the Tasnim news agency broadcast images of explosions across the city with smoke and fire billowing from buildings. One Iranian official... Yeah, it's the New York Times. It's 1 minute ago.
Well, we could be, what is it without a war going on somewhere in the world,
Well, if they're targeting nuclear, if they're hitting nuclear targets.
Yeah. Humans are the worst. And do the things you want to do today, kids, is the general message, because we all could have glowing shadows by the morning.
Well, the point that I was going to make, just to finish my point, I hate unfinished points. Is that the thing that Greta and these other activists are doing, and the thing that the protesters in LA are doing, is really not taking down the monster. The monster's always got more power, but they are highlighting the hypocrisy. They are highlighting the problem. Netanyahu is using that day and that horrible day, and everybody in the world's heart broke when that day happened, and 1,700 Israelis were killed or disappeared.
That we know of.
But he's using that day to kill 20,000 Palestinians.
Yeah.
That we know of.
That we know of, exactly. Just that we know of is, and it's it's the same in Russia, and that we know of is the most important thing, because after World War One, World War Two, Vietnam. There are so many hundreds of thousands of people that are just unaccounted for that existed and now have disappeared off the face of the earth.
Several thousand
Billions.
Hispanic children that have never been accounted for from the first Trump administration.
There you go. So, and that's why, and we keep going back to it. These things are so useful, document things, people. If you see something, document it. And we're always like, oh, why are people always on their phones? Because in this day and age, you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when something around you going on. I mean, look, we've had another machete attack in a shopping mall recently. I just saw a clip of a guy at Sydney Central Station with a meat cleaver. Like, this stuff is happening every day.
It really is your best protection now, though, too. Like, even if you're, and I'm probably because I was of the generation that come just before everyone had a telephone, that I don't think quick enough when someone's kicking off in public, especially at me, to like go, oh, I'm going to film you. Like, my first instinct is like, how am I going to de-escalate this or get the fuck away from this crazy person? Whereas now, if you can film it, then you're exposing whatever, if they're being, very bigoted or whatever, because that's one of my superpowers, to attract those kind of people. Then you're documenting the evidence, but you're also, once again, showing the rest of the world who that one person is.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. All right. Well, let's move away from the political for a little while. We have had
a moment or two.
It's not good. It's not good news, but we'll cap off some celebrity deaths this week because they keep happening. I know, we're such a good feel-good podcast.
Yeah,
right?
let's get away from the.
Greta wasn't on the list, so it is.
No, Greta wasn't on the list. So Sly Stone, R&B funk legend Sly Stone has passed away this week. This one kind of came out of like, it sounds weird, but Brian Wilson has been such a legendary part of music that I kind of forgot he was still around. Like,
that one hit me hard.
Yeah, it's a big one, right?
Yeah.
It's very much Sly Stone too. These kind of 60s, 70s era legends that changed the face of music and the way that we listen to music are going. They are history now, and especially Brian Wilson for what he did for not only the Beach Boys, but his solo work and just the mythos around that band and him himself. It's just such a huge cultural thing that it's a big loss, and I think that I feel like it's weird that it hasn't been more. Like, there's not more.
I think there will be. I think because of his era, I mean, that we're going to see like a television
tribute
sort of thing come out in a week or two. But I don't, his primary fans were not the social media age, so
they're not. No, I've seen a few though.
I want a nice slow build documentary. They want.
Yeah. But this was a Beach Boys concert. Was the very first concert I ever went to without an adult.
Oh, great up!
They played. They played at the New York State Fair, and when Dee and I were like 13 and 14, and if you bought tickets to the fair, you could see the concerts for free. This was before the concerts got big. And we got free tickets because the grocery store was running a promo. So we got to, it was me, Dia, and our friend Sherry. We got on the bus at 10 o'clock in the morning. We drove over to Syracuse. We got off the bus. We watched the 2 o'clock concert for like $2.75. I was 14. Dia was 13.
That's crazy.
That's the crazy shit. Like it just flips my mind out that people are like, yeah, I went and saw Elvis for like $2.50 and we stood. I'm like, that's some history shit. Like that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that was pretty miraculous then because, concert tickets were only like 18 or 20 bucks then, but to see the Beach Boys for $2.75 was a pretty big bargain,
It's just crazy. Like, I guess people will say that to us too one day when you're like, oh, we went and saw so-and-so for so-and-so. You're like, oh, what do you mean? That's just like, I can't imagine. I guess it's because of the era that Luke and I grew up in, that you hear these people like legendary names. Oh yeah, I just saw them and I was just standing.
But it depends where people play too. Like,
come on.
Yeah.
When they do tours in poorer countries though as well, like a lady I worked with saw Pink in Macedonia for like $20 Australian.
Wow.
And had like good seats.
But she still had to pay airfare to Macedonia to get a hotel.
Oh, well, she was already there visiting her
She was already
family.
there. It was just a happy coincidence.
Pink was incidental, yeah.
The cost of gigs are ludicrous. Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
But the price of production for these shows is ludicrous too.
And the show productions themselves have to get bigger and bigger and bigger and
right.
bigger and
it's
bigger.
Like I saw Les Mis on Broadway with half-price TKTS tickets for $25, and you and I paid $240 for Sunset Boulevard. Nicole,
worth I would pay to get in a heartbeat. I don't care. I would pay to get in a heartbeat. I think I went and saw Book of Mormon in the UK when I was there because I got off the tour bus. I'm like, I'm not going back to my hotel yet. Went to the discount ticket booth, third row, $50. I was like,
nice.
Merry Christmas. I've gotten some good stuff at on Broadway as well.
Yeah.
Just you've got to be in the right place at the right time. Hustle. Get that hustle.
My ticket for Patti LuPone was like $45. Right?
That's right. It was too. We were all over it. Look at us. All right. So next story is not. I don't know. Maybe because of who I am and what we do, is not really that much of a surprise. But Jared Leto, his team have had to officially respond after allegations of sexual misconduct and inappropriate behavior made against him by 9 different women in the past week. That we know of. That we know of. So, that's another that we know of. So some of these women were underage at the time of their alleged interaction with Leto. Multiple allegations of him forcing himself onto unwilling victims, as well as lewd conversation and predatory internet behavior. His team have just put out a blanket statement saying all the allegations are expressly denied. We do have a comment from someone saying that they had an encounter with him in his 20s and the allegations are not surprising. I've heard this a lot about him.
Which is disappointing because he's very talented. Like you when you enjoy people's art, you don't want to think that they're doing shitty things, do you?
But I think he has been historically shitty as well. This isn't, as I said, I thought this was more well known. Like
I know that he's considered an asshole on set.
Yeah, the things that we know about him recently is his behavior on set of it was Justice League and Suicide Squad, wasn't it, or one of them? And that he is, a little bit difficult to work with. But I thought that we all knew this already. These rumblings have been around again, like the Diddy stuff, for a very, very, very long time. And I'm surprised that it wouldn't have come out a bit more prevalently around the Me Too moment, when everyone was.
Or why didn't it come out when he was nominated for the Oscar? Usually it comes out when they have that.
Let's be honest, he probably had a better PR team that was better at killing stories.
Yeah.
Well, if he's in an Oscar, let's be 100% honest. If he's in an Oscar campaign, not only is it his personal representation that is going to chase those stories down, it's the movie company, it's the distributors, it's everyone that is going to kill any negative story that's out there.
LA is a company town.
right?
Everybody you know who lives in LA works in movies in some way or another.
If I was walking down Sunset, I think I go, wow, that Twinkle looks like the guy from Morbius. You saw Morbius? I think you're one of the only people that did. Junket Nosy. It's Mormon time. So, but look, I wish I could say I was surprised. I don't. I appreciate his talent. I don't know. Again, I don't. Obviously, he's not a good guy.
Right.
And it's one of those art and artist conversations. Can
Right.
you separate the art from the artist? Is it worthwhile separating the art from the artist?
Well, you know,
I'm not going to be drawn on that one.
it's been around forever. You know, the rumor
and it's
mill
Hollywood.
says,
Like it
says
Hollywood.
Gauguin was
the industry.
cruel to Van Gogh. You know,
but they get away with, like, this is the thing, because he's got that lead singer, movie star, TV star. Before that, TV star, it was Jordan Catalano, for Christ's sake. Like, people will not forgive that, but they will allow it because of the celebrity.
right?
I think
Well,
that's
it creates a caste of privilege.
Yeah,
athletes
and it gives them probably a fake sense of invulnerability too. So that's why they keep.
But
doing
I mean, athletes have that caste of privilege. Diddy certainly had that caste of privilege. Harvey Weinstein had that caste of privilege. Bill Cosby had that caste of privilege. You know, I mean, these people, these perpetrators, feel like, you know, the industry shields them so much that they feel invulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do want to do a follow-up. Sorry, I do want to do a follow-up on what we were talking about last week. Now, you guys weren't here, but we talked about the Jonathan Joss murder.
Yes.
He was the actor from King of the Hill. His partner/husband has made an official statement after the questions on whether it was a hate-related crime. So this is his official statement. My husband, Jonathan Joss, and I were involved in a shooting while checking the mail at the site of our former home. That home was burnt down after 2 years of threats from the people in the area who repeatedly told us that they would set it on fire. We reported these threats to law enforcement multiple times and nothing was done. Throughout that time, we were harassed regularly by individuals who made it clear they did not accept our relationship. Much of the harassment was openly homophobic. When we returned to the site to check our mail, we discovered the skull of one of our dogs and its harness placed in clear view. This caused both of us severe emotional distress. We began yelling and crying in response to the pain of what we saw. While we were doing this, a man approached us. He started yelling violent homophobic slurs at us. He then raised a gun from his lap and fired. Jonathan and I had no weapons. We were not threatening anyone. We were grieving. We were standing side by side. When the man fired, Jonathan pushed me out of the way. He saved my life. Second part, Jonathan is my husband. He gave me more love in our time together than most people ever get. We were newlyweds. We picked Valentine's Day. We're in the process of looking for a trailer and planning our future. He was murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of two men loving each other. I was with him when he passed. I told him how much he was loved. To everyone who supported him, his fans, his friends, know that he valued you deeply and he saw you as family. My focus now is on protecting Jonathan's legacy and honoring the life that we built together. If your concern is how somebody coped with trauma or how loudly they speak when recounting injustice and being ignored by the authorities, then you never truly cared about my husband. Jonathan saved my life. I will carry that forward. I will protect what he built.
So they were being homophobically harassed.
Right.
They killed their pet.
What?
Yeah.
The original report was that focused on the fact that Jonathan Joss allegedly had some mental health issues, and the press went to the neighbors. They were saying, "Oh yeah, he's crazy. He was always wandering around screaming and doing all this stuff." When Tristan, Jonathan's partner, came forward and said, no, this guy, it was a hate crime, and the San Antonio Police Department refused to label it a hate crime until the internet kicked up. Until the internet kicked up and went, dude, like this is.
So they were going to let them get away with murder.
Yeah.
Well, they've been arrested for murder, but it's. Oh, they were. I think they were arrested. The perpetrator was arrested.
I think the perpetrator was trying to build himself a self-defense case that just was crazy and threatening and wandering around the neighborhood, making everybody feel unsafe. I think that was the intention with all that.
That was the intention, and but the pertinent fact is that they were not willing to label it a hate crime straight away. Despite a witness, not even a witness, a victim being there saying he was saying homophobic things before he shot and killed my husband.
Mm-hmm. And here's a time when a camera would have been helpful.
Right, exactly. But they were obviously in enemy territory.
Right.
You know, so why would somebody film that? It's not going to be beneficial to anyone but the victims.
Well, I can't believe how much of our history is now being recorded on surveillance cameras that the police have throughout our cities, on Ring doorbell cameras. You know, I mean, it's like this is becoming our form of justice and a big brother.
But look, it does. As
now though, if you don't have footage, though, too, a lot of your complaints can be just dismissed. Oh well, there's no proof. Never happened.
He said, she said, whatever.
Yeah. Why do you think Teslas have inbuilt cameras? You know, like there's a reason. There's a reason why, and the amount of stuff
that we can all see them catch fire.
But it's the amount of stuff that Anne catches on the camera of her Tesla is amazing. Like you're like, oh, okay, people that like you wouldn't even think that people are walking past your house at night, looking in your neighbor's car. Like she's caught some really weird shit, and she doesn't live. She lives like right in the center of Newcastle. And it's just like, oh wow, there's people looking over fences, looking in cars, like doing all kinds of weird shit at night when you're behind closed doors. It's like, oh, okay. Sometimes I feel better that there are cameras about there. There we go. Just for your reference, you can buy body cams online. Thank you. Doxy comes through with the knowledge. I like it. He's our military man.
I may have to hook myself up every time
I know.
Right.
Walking out into public.
Now, a little bit of sexy, saucy controversy this story, because we used to rely on. There's always one in a generation of pop girlies that are going to cause trouble and cause a ruckus. This generation, it seems to be Sabrina Carpenter, because she has launched her new album, Era. The album is called Man's Best Friend. This is the album cover.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
And people are not happy.
Well, it does look a little bit like...
it does give you the ick. I mean, I like Sabrina, you know? But it does give me the ick.
Yeah. And I get that. I think what it requires, though, is knowledge of the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Because she doesn't do anything. She's like Taylor Swift. I think the majority of the people in pop these days, unless you're past a certain generation, there always has to be something behind what you're doing. There's Easter eggs, there's meaning. Sabrina Carpenter songs aren't about making your man happy and kowtowing to men.
Which is why I love her.
Men are fantastic. Her new song, I love it that a year after, to the day, that she released Please, Please, Please about Barry Keoghan. Like, don't be an asshole. She releases Man Child, which is going, oh, surprise, you were a fucking asshole and I blame your mother. Like, she is not she's not a wilting flower. And I think what has been done intentionally, because her whole shtick is, you know, women's empowerment, and everyone's going, well, this is just sending women back to the 50s. What we don't see in that image is the alternate image, which I think is the LP cover of a man licking her shoe. You know?
Yeah.
It's not going to be as straightforward as, oh my God, somebody's pulling her hair. And you know what? Even if that is it, you can't, like, we're always about
I
not
can
yucking
appreciate
someone's
that. But I appreciate the art of it, that it actually makes me have a response to it, whether it's positive
visceral,
or negative.
You know?
So, you know, I think it's clever, and it's obviously doing the whole purpose of the picture's supposed to do, and that's generate attention and hype.
100%.
Well, I don't think it's going to deter a single Sabrina Carpenter fan. It's just going to offend the people.
There are some fans that aren't happy. There are some.
Oh, really?
Fans
but you've always got those crazy fans.
It's feminist leaning people are like, oh, this is disgusting. This is.
But if you have the opposite view on
reductive.
the inside cover, you know what I mean?
I just think you can't. As obvious as the saying is, you can't judge a book by its cover, especially when she's already shown you the content. She's shown you the first single off the album is not about, yes, men are amazing, take the red pill.
Let me kneel down.
Trad wife. Let me be a trad wife. But it also comes into that whole, not to get too deep on it, that whole S&M conversation about who really does have that power in the dom-sub relationship, because it's not always, you know, the dom person. There's a reason why they're attracted to certain people, and that subversive, sub element gives them a lot of power. I think what she's saying is, don't discount a woman because you think she's weak. She may be man's best friend, but, you know, she's gonna. I would not be surprised if the re-release has someone on a leash, like him on a leash or something like that. It's subversive. It's not. Don't take it at face value. Be smarter.
Right.
Is the general view. My view.
But again,
and look, this is nothing new.
Do we separate the art from the artist? And, you know, this is part of the art. Is the album cover.
I think you just got to try and understand it, though. Like, just like, I'm upset. But again, that's part of this. I'm upset and I have an opinion, and now everyone must
We
know
are a
about
knee-jerk society. We are reactionary in the
Says the people hosting a podcast about opinions.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. You know, that's why we do this, because we have opinions. And you deserve to hear our opinions.
Yeah, we are good at it. One more quick news story. Luke, you're a video game girly, so this one, you'll like this. Street Fighter the movie is going into production.
Uh-oh.
Orville Peck is rumored to be joining the cast of Street Fighter. Now, this story has just broke. Orville is currently... Yeah, as Vega. Orville is currently starring as the MC in Cabaret.
Look, I just want to know.
Yes.
Is Kylie Minogue reprising Cammy?
No, this is a brand new one. So the other cast members that are confirmed are Jason Momoa and Noah Centino. So this is
who are playing the girls? We don't care about the boys.
We don't have the girls yet. I think it's actually quite good casting for the masked tattooed Street Fighter to be Orville Peck. All right, come on. That's and look, no one's going to complain about Orville being shirtless.
No. Or Jason.
I wish I would have. I wish he was in Cabaret when I was there. I would have seen Cabaret for sure. Oh, I love Orville.
What good is sitting alone
he's got
in
a
your
very
room?
deep voice.
Come hear the Cabaret.
Isn't the biggest movie? Oh, Dogsy's got movie news. Hit us with it when you've got it, Dogs, because we're about to get Vera all fired up. She's getting warm. Sorry. In other movie news, we finally have a poster for it that we did last summer.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Look,
teen staring off ominously. Man with the hook. It seems to fit.
Are they teens? They all look a bit old to be teens.
Dogsy,
College.
Dogsy, I'm going to do an article on this because it's only breaking news. Spaceballs 2?
I thought it was Spaceballs 3.
An article to come. An article to come. So we'll talk about it.
Oh, they're
We'll
bringing back
definitely talk about
Caddyshack too.
it. Who knows? But as I said, it is that time of the show, ladies and gents. Time to get fired up, feisty, and just all round freaky. It's time for video.
Yeah, your fire truck.
Okay, V. She's had a week off, but she's ready to go. 3, 2, 1, vent.
Vent.
Oh my God. Do you guys realize it is only day 144 of the Trump 2.0? We are only 9% of our way through this fucking fiasco. If we get him to leave at the end of 4 years and he hasn't obliterated all voting in this country. Oh, Jesus Christ. Today, dear leader, on the brink of his big birthday weekend, gives a speech about how, there's been some farmers and there've been some hotel people who've told him that maybe his immigration policy isn't the best thing for their business. And you got to protect the farmers and you got to protect the hospitality industry. And then he says, but MS-13 and Trace I don't even know what Trace Arangwe is infiltrating all these farm workers. What? Are you kidding me? If you're in a gang of organized criminals, you're not going to go out and pick fucking carrots. You're not going to go into a hotel and scrub a fucking toilet. Trace Arangwe and MS-13 are not in the fucking fields. They're not at Home Depot looking for a job. They're not any of the people that are getting arrested. They are going to courthouses where immigrants who are reporting for their mandatory report date and doing it legally, that big clause that all you fucking MAGA haters say, no, they didn't come here legally. The people doing it legally are getting apprehended at the courthouse. Really? This is about criminals? No. But, as Dogsy said, the problem with this is that this is not the goal. It may be Trump's goals, it may be the MAGA's goals, but the bigger picture is the oligarchy. And the oligarchy is taking over. They don't care what Trump says or does. It's not about him. This is their means to power. And we are in a moment where this man is overrunning our entire democracy. He's ignoring the rule of law. He's ignoring the courts. He's subverting the military to police the citizens of this country. He is violating every aspect of our Bill of Rights, the Bill of Rights that enshrines our freedom, our right to free assembly, our right to free speech, our right to protest our government, our right to trial. These are all enshrined in the Bill of Rights. And he doesn't care. And you know who else doesn't care? The people who own our media. They don't care. They're not putting any of this up there. They're not talking about this. They're not writing about it in their corporate-funded newspapers or on their corporate-funded news. Gone are the days of independent journalism. The only independent journalism you see anymore is on YouTube or TikTok or Insta. And half the time it's taken down or, the reason this is gone is because it contained misinformation. I reported several videos on TikTok that contain blatant lies. And no, we find this is not in violation of our standards. But the minute this woman calls me a bitch, so I call her a bitch back, boom, mine's gone. The minute I call Trump a convicted felon, a criminal, my post is gone. Yeah, we are owned by big food. They control all of our food. They control 90% of what goes into our diets, and they control they're part of the reason that we're so unhealthy, because there's a limit to how much rat poison they can put in our tomato sauce. There's an actual limit to how much, diglyphosate. I can't even think of the chemical name of it right now, but it's essentially a weed killer, and they can put that in our cereal and in our corn, and they put it in freaking antifreeze. If your cats eat it, they will die. Big pharma controls our medical, and everybody said for years, why cure cancer when you can just treat it forever? The goal is really not to kill us. I don't think that's their goal. I think the goal is to make us poorer, sicker, and completely subservient. So we become a country of wage slaves, so that they have us so cowed by what's on our media, by what we think is coming, by all of this fear-mongering that the mass media is doing, that we stopped caring. And all I got to say, no King's Day, June 14th, I will be out there with my sign. I pray that nothing bad happens. I pray that the violence stays minimal, if not existent. But we have to get out there, folks. We cannot let this continue. We are losing every single right we have today. We've lost so many already. People's right to vote has been subverted. People's right to speech has been subverted. People's right to control their own bodies has been subverted. People's right to love who they love has been subverted. Get out in the fucking streets. No kings. This is not a monarchy. No man is above the law, and no fucking corporation is above the law. Go team.
Oof. Oof.
Snaps for Vera, ladies and gentlemen. Snaps for Vera. Just to lighten the load before we leave, I do have a little bit of something special for you. What the? Dogsy, Dogsy was surprised last week when the what the had nothing to do with poop.
Why are we
It
doing
might be
poop again?
adjacent. It might be adjacent. Tell me if this is real or just an unfortunate assembly of words. The city of Kenosha is holding a pegging event at Westside Library. Do you enjoy pegging? We'll be hosting our first pegging event next month at the Westside Library. Bring your partner, an open mind, and prepare to play. Participants must enter through the rear.
Oh my gosh. I think it's deliberate. Look, there was something hilarious on British morning TV, and Ryland Clark, who was famous from X Factor and Big Brother and things like that in the UK, and he's an openly gay man, and they were reading out these terms that were like historically very like gay terms, like there was stuff in there like double penetration and double barrel and all of this stuff, and they're reading them with these new definitions of what young people think they are, and they were playing it all so straight because they had these two older heterosexual co-hosts, and Ryland's reading out all of this stuff, and it was chaos. I was like, oh my god, this is the funniest thing, because he was playing it so straight and these people believed every word, because it is kind of, people are using all of these archaic terms that were probably underground in our certain communities that are now being reinterpreted and used in the wrong context.
Look,
and it's like,
you know what? More power to Kenosha for being like down with it. Either way, like progressive.
Well, I do have
event.
a feeling that this is something to do with just putting pegs in holes.
Well, either way, it's correct.
I'm suspecting that some sweet old woman said, oh, let's have a pegging contest. And some young intern working for 25 grand, who's got a college degree and hates his life, said, okay, here you go, pegging event. And he did the poster.
He took the assignment and ran with it. You know what? that event's probably going to be the most successful event that community's had in a while.
Yeah.
You may have a lot of confused
Confusing, but
people.
successful.
Go Kenosha and have a protest. No kings.
Yeah.
Get your pegs out.
Get your pegs out. Yeah. Bring your partner and get your pegs out. It's going to be an interesting time.
Vera, show us
That's
your
all I'm going to
pegs.
say. At the library as well. You got to be quiet.
They're not.
You gotta be quiet at the
They're
library.
not ready for view.
Well, thank you for joining us today on UCR Live. If you missed it, we had a little round table this week that was worth a check out with myself, Vera, and Brooke. We have, well, I haven't spoken to Luke yet. We have Uncensored Horror coming up. We are checking back into Fear Street, and not to give away something too dramatic, but if you're a fan of 90s movies, there's going to be something coming up that's going to have you totally bugging.
Totally bugging.
But whatever.
Loser.
We won't miss out. We won't miss out on a good time because as if we would
As
ever
if. Oh, is that a
bring the
clue?
goods.
You
Ladies and
try
gentlemen,
driving
girls, thank you for
platforms.
joining UCR Live, and we will see you again next week. Bye, y'all. It was his
Bye-bye.
50th birthday.